Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We're getting started in around 3 minutes. But if you'd like to tell us where you're speaking from, what you do, if you're a customer success manager, if you're managing a customer success team, please feel free to tell us your experience and why you're watching this webinar, so we can talk a little bit more and help you on this experience. Thank you. All right, so we have a few people sharing here about their experiences. So there are a few folks telling us they're running customer success teams, and they would like to know more about the best practices that we have here in Pipefy. So the good news is that we're going to share a lot about it, and also about use cases that we have. So I hope that we can provide you with insights and help you to manage your team and your customers as well. So we're getting started in just 1 minute. There are a few folks joining us. So just a few more, just 1 more minute, and we're getting started. All right, so we're getting started. First of all, thanks for joining us on this webinar. So our main topic is how the best customer service teams are using technology to increase customer satisfaction with Pipefy. So my name is Mariana. I'm from the customer marketing and the education team here at Pipefy. I have been working here for a year, and I've also worked in an implementation team. So this topic that we're dealing today is very special to me. I have a lot of experience working mostly with onboarding. So I hope I can help you with that as well, and help you with your questions. I have already worked in other companies with onboarding implementations. So I have around 3 or 4 years of experience in this department. So I hope me and Bertra can better help you. And as I mentioned, Bertrand is here with me to share more about our experiences and best practices. So if you could introduce yourself, please, Bertrand.
Hi all. Hi. Thank you, Mariana. So I'm Rafael Bertrand. I'm an account executive and process consultant here with Pipefy. I joined Pipefy about a year ago, and I wish that I had known about this solution before in my previous working experiences. Before joining Pipefy, I was in the payments industry. 90% of my work was streamlining processes to deliver value to clients in the shortest time possible. And so I worked directly with customer service, B2B, B2C departments to guarantee the best CX customer experiences for our clients. And that's what brought me here to this webinar to talk to you about that. Because when we went to the market to look for tools that adapted to the specific scenarios that we were trying to build for a company, it was really difficult to find. We had excellent customer service, there's excellent customer services tools out there, Zendesk, ServiceNow, they have amazing features. But many times they just don't fit your needs, right? They do not adapt specifically to your specific scenario. You adapt to them, or they're overpriced, and so it was really difficult. And that's how I met Pipefy, right? And streamlining processes is why we're here. So I expect that by the end of this webinar, you guys understand if Pipefy is the right solution for your CS department.
Awesome, thanks. So keep going with this brief introduction. So before we get started, just a few quick reminders. So if you have any kind of questions, please type in the Q&A button. We'll be managing your questions, so feel free to send them anytime you want during the webinar. We have a special time to help you and go through your questions by the end of it. But feel free if you have any questions regarding the cases, the experiences we're going to share during the webinar, you can send them anytime. And if you have any audio or video problems, please let us know in the chat as well so we can fix it as soon as possible. And a recording of the webinar will be sent to your email. We also make it available on our YouTube channel and on Pipefy's webinar page as well. All right. Well, the key takeaways. So what do we expected to help you with by the end of this webinar, right? So to understand how to identify bottlenecks on your CS operation and apply improvements, to see how to track your customer's journey and how your team can benefit from it, and last but not least, get to know Pipefy's features that can automate your operation, freeing your team to foster relationship with customers. So we truly believe that automating your processes, you can actually spend time working on relationships, strategy with customers. So we think that's one of the main benefits that we can help you with, streamlining your processes, understanding and as I mentioned in the first topic, identifying bottlenecks is a very important topic as well. So you can apply these improvements and your team can have a better operation and execution as well. And our agenda for today, we're going to start talking about what's Pipefy. If I don't know if you heard of it before, if you were already a customer, but if you've never heard of Pipefy before, I think Bertra will explain a little bit more about Pipefy for you. Then we're going to talk Pipefy as the solution for your CS department. And then we're going to share a story of success. One of our customers who had an amazing result resolving support requests 33% faster. And this is one story, but it reflects the scenario of many of our customers. So I think it's a great example, but we do have many stories like that. And why not? It could be your scenario, right? So this is a very interesting case. And after that, the last topic is build a 5 stars experience for your customers. So we're going to show on Pipefy on our platform how it actually works with the features, with the templates we have, and how you can customize it as well. So feel free, as I mentioned, feel free to send your questions. We're going to talk a lot about experiences, about Pipefy, the tool, the features, so we hope we can clarify everything for you today. All right. So Rafa, It's your turn now.
Great.
So thanks, everyone.
Great. And to everyone who's watching, so we're gonna leave the demo to the last. It's the last part of this presentation. So if you have any specific feature, anything specific that you would like to see, send it in the chat so that I know it, and when I demo the product, we can have that. I can show you that. All right. So I imagine that many of you guys have already used Pipefy actually, and we want to thank you for that. And for those of you that are new to Pipefy, first time hearing this, I'm gonna give you all a full overview of what Pipefy is. Okay, so we were founded in 2015. We're a global company. So we're already 5 years in the market with a client base across the globe. We're a popular choice for small, medium, and multinational corporations like Capgemini, Coca-Cola, and General Electric, uh, and that want to streamline processes, right? So in your case, for customer services, we're here to discuss that use case. And today we know like there are three brand distinguishers, right? The product, the pricing, and the care. And if you're not in monopoly, chances are um, that there are great products out there that can probably substitute yours, right? At a very good price. So where can you easily stand out from the competition? It is a rhetorical question. Of course, it is customer care, right? And that brings us to customer loyalty, right? So, and that's our main objective here in Pipefy. We want to help you offer your clients an amazing experience when they need so, and also your support agents who are training those customers have the tools, empower them so that they can offer your clients that amazing experience. Okay, so yeah, about customer loyalty. So, what are the challenges that we've learned from our experience here in Pipefy uh, that customer services have, right? So your typically customer services do not have a clear visibility of each customer or their request status. Uh, there's a lot of work. Customer services team tend to be overwhelmed with mundane tasks that could be automatized. Oh, I missed that word. Automatized. Yeah. And let's face it, a huge part of your customer satisfaction lies on the tip of the fingers of those customer agents replying to your customers. And if these folks are overwhelmed and they do not have the right conditions to work, your customer satisfaction is definitely going to be impacted. And we're going to see some data about that later in this webinar. But I think it's obvious the straightforward correlation between your agent satisfaction and your customer satisfaction, right? So we want your agents to have all the tools, all the information they need to smoothly work at work to be able to deliver to your customers in a very fast way. Some other points are missing information, right? So you receive inquiries from your clients from different types of channels, and information is not always standardized. So your customers do not have enough information to handle that ticket. Your agents do not have enough information to handle the ticket to solve it. So they need to create more than one interaction with the customer, and the customer needs to repeat itself many times to get that ticket solved. So one of the goals here is to standardize the information your agents receive in order to have the full story, in order for them to deliver, to have increase the first time response rate, right? And then the customer feedback is not centralized. The customer sends feedback by email, they send feedback on WhatsApp, whatever channel, and you're not keeping track of that. So you do not really know what's going on in terms of satisfaction in your customer operations. So what challenges do you guys face daily in your customer service operations? It would be really nice if you shared that with us so that we can show you guys how those challenges are managed with our solution. Mike, do we have anything there specific?
No, we don't. But if it would be awesome if anybody, all the attendees could share with us their experiences. But I personally have been there. As I mentioned, I've worked with customer success for a long time. I've led an implementation team for a year and a half. So, and actually, I used Pipefy as my tool in the other company where I worked. So it was pretty interesting to be on the other side right now and understand more about how it works. But I did face the same challenges and the same pain. So, and I know that what the importance of having the process streamlined in order to provide a better experience to our customers, right? So I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And there's research that shows about customer loyalty that is so difficult to gain, right? And according to SQM Group, to an SQM Group research, 80% of the customers interviewed said after one bad experience, they'll go elsewhere with your competitor. So guaranteeing that your customers are satisfied with a prompt response, it is crucial for your operations. It translates into revenue, profits. So it is important that we can, that you think strategically about your customer services operation. It's 2020, the demographics have changed, and customers are really demanding. And as I mentioned before, customer care is now considered one of the strategies. It's the main strategy of most companies. It's not, new titles have been showing up, popping up, like chief executive, customer satisfaction. I don't know, like this crazy names related to customer satisfaction, because customer care is really the center of the company. Building customer-centered companies translates into revenue in customer loyalty, through customer loyalty, and that's what we're here to provide with, a solution that allows you and your team to offer an amazing experience. So, so what are the consequences, right? That's easy. Uh, we've all probably gone through very terrible customer experiences where you need to repeat your story 10 times just for someone to start doing something about that. And that is really frustrating, right? So customers need to repeat themselves. They need to repeat the information and that has been lost at each interaction. The story is in multiple agents at this point, and information scattered all over the place in email boxes or in the heads of your agents. And that's the worst possible scenario. There's a lot of time wasted with manual activities, such as sending emails, updating customer statuses, or kicking and onboarding process. And these menial activities overwhelm your customer services. And your customer satisfaction is on the tip of your fingers. So you need to care for these folks who care for your customers, give them the right tools to work so that they can deliver, right? So you don't want an overwhelmed customer services team. That is definitely something that we need to work on. If you feel your customer services team is overwhelmed, please share your stories here in the chat also. And it becomes harder to measure and to improve the operation. When you do not have information centralized, there is zero chances that you're going to improve because you don't have the data. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it, right? And that ultimately leads to a customer churn, right? For us working on B2B, we know the importance of that. B2C companies, it's more about customer loyalty, and customer loyalty is acquired through good product, but also an excellent customer care. So what do we propose? What is our value proposition, right? So I think that one of the major values that Pipefy is going to bring to your operations is centralization, being that one place where all the information that is needed for your agents to handle your customer care is. So centralization of information, no information scattered, everything in one place, one source of truth, right? where you can easily track every ticket that was open. You can gain efficiency by establishing standards of execution. So every ticket, every client inquiry that you receive, it's got to be received in a standard way, in one place, and then distributed to your team. So, and we're going to set SLAs to handle that ticket. We're going to set requirements for types of situations using conditional logic, for instance, where your agents will clearly know how to handle, who to look for, which departments to consult when such a ticket arrives to them. So that will really create a standardized process that will decrease the ticket handling time, right? So that is one of the best benefits, decreasing the amount of time it takes for an agent to solve a ticket, because the information is going to be available for your agent. Yeah, you're going to have happy customers with real-time feedback, right? So if you're not, I guess we're all today measuring customer satisfaction one way or the other, CSAT, NPS, there's so many metrics out there. So, and if you're not, let's start today doing that, because that is really important. And so with Pipefy, I think that happier customers, you're gonna, by delivering a smoother experience, by having a smoother back end of your customer support operations, it's got to translate directly into a smoother experience for your clients. And that's going to translate into a higher CSAT, NPS, customer loyalty, and ultimately revenues, right? So then, automation of manual work by freeing collaborators to work on fostering relationships with your customers and helping them achieve success with your product. As I was mentioning before, it's a very typical story that we hear here in Pipefy when we have clients who look for our solution. They are looking at Pipefy because their customer services are overwhelmed. And the first solution that everyone thinks is getting new folks to the team. But that is really not, it's not a scalable solution. It's good for 100 tickets, for 200 tickets. But more than that, it's not about bringing in more people. It's about bringing technology. It's about creating scalability. So hiring more, it's not going to solve your problems in the long term. And so if you're not doing automation today, you really need to start. This changes the game for you. This will change your operations. Either if it's Pipefy, whatever you want to do, but automate whatever you can if you want to create scalable processes. Then also tracking metrics, right? As I said before, if it cannot be measured, it will not be improved. So Pipefy has really powerful reporting capabilities where you're going to have access to all your performance business processes performance in order to take strategic decisions. See where the bottlenecks are. See what's working. Which agents are performing, which are not. Why are they not performing? Where are those tickets coming from, and what are the main concerns of your clients? All right, measuring satisfaction of your customers. All right, and all centralized in one place. You're not going to have a separate platform to measure, to get reports on NPS and satisfaction. Everything's going to be in one place, and your agents are going to have access to that information so that they improve upon that. All right. And yeah, and I think that before we jump into the demo of Pipefy, I want to share with you guys a very interesting use case here. General Electric healthcare. I think we all know this logo, right? We're all familiar with it. So it's General Electric is a manufacturer and distributor of medical diagnostic equipment. They've created a global internal and external customer support network through partner companies that offer that service for them. So they offer support to their final customer through these external partner companies and through their own internal services, right? That is a huge operation. Being in so many across the globe with external partners offering your services, you want them to deliver to your expectations, to your standards, but you don't have the right tools to do that. So General Electric went to look for a solution that allowed them to organize that, right? To just a second, I lost my screen. Okay, my screen is divided into, okay. So those were the challenges that General Electric was facing. So they had a network of partners, internal services to offer support to their clients all over the globe with non-standardized execution. So the resolution time was not clear. It was it was not clear, but it was long. The team spent hours searching for information, and that was one of their main pains. Their requests came from all different channels, and just the person who received it was able to have visibility of what was going on. So the team spent often lots of hours searching for information regarding that specific case and nowhere to be found. Then, as I said, standards of execution. So what information do you need from the case? You need the customer's ID, you need the customer's name, the surname, telephone number. What information do you need in order to execute, right, to handle that ticket? And they were receiving information, just freely in a non-standardized way, and that really made it difficult for them to solve and increase the number of interactions necessary to solve a case. So, and then how did we solve that, right? So the first thing that was centralizing everything, right? So Pipefy became that one place where every piece of information was available for the customer service agent, for the support agent. That automatically improved the response and turnaround time, and also using automations in Pipefy freed that time and increased the response rate, the response time of the agents. And to the managers in a managerial level, it gave them a clear view of what was going on, right? So what SLAs were we missing? Which tickets are late? Why are they late? Right? So that gave managers strategic information on how to improve their operations, right? So I think that the best words to describe Pipefy, according to General Electric, and I agree 100% with this definition, is a blank canvas that you can paint any way you want. And as I told you at the beginning, it is really difficult when you are searching for tools in the market, but you have a very specific scenario. And most of the times you have to adapt to the tools and not them to you. So in this case, and our solution, I think that is one of its greatest value, that blank canvas. And that's how General Electric puts it. I think this is a senior manager at General Electric who said this, who defined us like that. It's a very flexible tool to create a perfect process flow. And you need no coding background to do this. So Pipefy is basically clicking on buttons to build whatever process you want. So you need absolutely no coding background, no programming background in order to build Pipefy, to build automated processes. And that's where we're going to jump in right now. I'm going to show you how to build processes, how a process looks in Pipefy, and and the results, as I said at the beginning, we had a 33% faster support request resolution. And it's really nice to emphasize here that before Pipefy, they didn't even measure this. So this 33% increase in support requests is since Pipefy was implemented. So from day one, Pipefy to now, they increased that. Before, if we measure that, when they were not measuring this, it's probably a much higher number. So support requests, they were streamlined and executed according to the standards. So all information needed was there. Steps were followed. That enabled them to improve the process, to identify bottlenecks, and create smoother process for their agents and clients. And yes, SLA SLAs met for greater customer satisfaction. And those are the results that we expect from a solution like Pipefy for your operations. All right. So I'm going to go into the demo in a minute. But if you guys have, are there any questions, Mari, over there, or any specific features that people would like to see?
There's just one question regarding what kind of reports GE uses more, and I think we don't. I'm not really sure about all the reports they use, but I know the most used one right now, as we mentioned in the case, is about how long the team is taking to reply and to the responses for the ticket. So on Pipefy, it's really easy to measure the time in the requests for each stage of the request as well. So I think this is the most used in this moment for this kind of processes. And I don't know if you want to complement it, but this is the question that we have regarding the use case. And then I think we can go to the other questions when we are in the demo part.
Yeah, that's excellent. Let's jump into the demo. Okay.
Awesome. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
All right. All right. Let me start sharing my screen now. There's light in my forehead. I hope that's a good sign. Okay. There you go. So do you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So this is Pipefy. Mariana, just to make sure, how much time do we have for the demo? Is it like 30 minutes, 20?
We have 30 minutes for the webinar, but we can answer the questions while you go through the templates. So no worries about it.
Great. Okay. So once you log into your account, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see these boxes over here. Each one of these boxes is a pipeline. We call that. It's a workflow, right? So on each one of these workflows is where we're going to run your processes. And these workflows, they can be interconnected one with the other. So for instance, your customer support help desk to your customer satisfaction. So when something happens in this pipeline, in this workflow, it will trigger an action in this one. So when a customer is moved, when a customer is created, we can send in this pipeline, we can send him a customer satisfaction report, a customer satisfaction survey, for instance. Then we're going to go through the automations, the databases, the report section, and if we have time, I would like to show you the portals also in Pipefy. So I click here, and this is what I get. I get a Kanban view with columns that represent phases of a process, of a workflow, and cards that are the object that I'm managing. In this case, it's a ticket from specific customers. So this card over here is on screening. It was sent by John Smith, and it has a summary of the information that I received from the intake form, right? Every card is created using this. This is a public form. This is a form where you will collect the information from your customers. So in order to trigger a process from Pipefy, the process can be triggered either by email. So as you can see here, this workflow has an email, this number at mail.pipefy.com, but we can customize that email to use your corporate email. When an email is received to that address, it's going to generate a card. Then the second way we can trigger the process is by filling in this intake form, either internally from the pipe or sharing it publicly with this link with your customers. This form can be embedded in your website by using this iframe code. Really easy to do, and whenever it is filled out by your customers, it's gonna trigger a new card in your pipeline. Okay, let me see here. Request 1, 2, 3. Then as we mentioned about standardizing information, this is the minimum required information I need to handle this ticket. The name is mandatory. The email is not. The request is. The request type is. So over here, I give some options to my customers, right? So that so that I know what the complaint, what the request type is. Based on this information, based on this based on this type of based on the request type, I can then route it to the right support agent, right? So that's using automation and conditional logic in PipeFi. When I send a financial request, Mary's gonna be handling it automatically because we've set those business rules to distribute the tickets according to expertise. If that's how you divide your customer services team, that's how we recommend it. At least it decreases the amount of time that it takes to it decreases the response rate, it decreases the resolution rate of the client of your of a ticket. Sorry. So there's other. I thought a conditional field was going to open. Sometimes we can do that. If other, then shows a box over here. The details, and then you can attach files over here. So proof, an invoice, proof of purchase, ID, whatever you need from your customer, they can attach it, and everything's going to be then sent to PipeFi. So I click on submit, and here a personalized message. Thanks for filling out the form, right? And then here you go. Raphael this is a new ticket, right? Raphael, and this is the summary. When I'm gonna open a different one. I'm gonna open here John Smith because it has more information. But so this is a card. The card is, as I mentioned, is the object that's going to be managed. Either a request, an inquiry, a new satisfaction response from a customer. That's going to be managed in a card. And cards can be associated. So whenever I ask John Smith whenever I send John Smith any satisfaction survey from a different workflow, it's going to be nested. It's going to be connected to John Smith's record. So everything that happens with John Smith is going to be connected. So I'm going to have John Smith's entire history in one place. I'm going to track his record and know everything that all the transactions of this customer. A card is divided in two sides. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side is where you're going to receive, where your agents are going to receive the information. So right now this is what your support agent's going to see. Right when she opens the card, on the left hand side, the information that was sent on the public form, right? Then over here, as this card progresses down the workflow, down the pipe, the history is going to be, you're going to have access to previous phases over here. So I know this card right now is in the screening phase. When it moves to the next phase, it's going to show me the screening and the other phase. And then how? How do we standardize? What do we do next, right? So a ticket was received, then what? So the first thing is on the right-hand side is where we're gonna set those requirements, right? Let me see. I'm not an admin to show you how to do that, but I'm a member of this pipe, so I don't have access to everything, so I cannot edit this. So there's gonna be a button here that says Add Field. And using those fields in PipeFi is how we're going to add this, the requirements in order to complete this phase. In this case, we need a request ID that is automatically generated by PipeFi. So this is going to serve as, that's going to be a unique identifier for this ticket. Then we have a responsible in this that was assigned, Jeff Bezos. So that was probably due, Jeff Bezos was assigned because of the type of ticket. The request type was a question. They call it here a doubt. It was a question. So Jeff Bezos was assigned. We can assign multiple people if we need it, right? So assignations, we can create levels of assignations of responsibilities. So we can have a manager, multiple managers, and support analysts over here. Okay, okay, I'm gonna add Bill Gates now. Then we have a priority field. So whatever information, we need at this phase we're going to add those process requirements by using the fields, the 20 plus fields available here. So in this case, we need to set a deadline also for this ticket. So we want this solved by by May 30th. When this deadline, when this it's telling me in 3 days, right? When this deadline is passed, then it's gonna show me this ticket with a red tag. Like, let me see if I have one. I have no tickets tagged late or expired. But this gray tag that you see over here that has a deadline, this turns yellow or red when a deadline is coming or passed, or so a ticket is expired. And based on that, we can trigger automated alerts. They're gonna keep your team on track of everything that's going. So you're gonna know which tickets have been expired. You're gonna be, most of all, able to set standardized SLAs, formalized SLAs, and perform how you're keeping up with those SLAs with those goals that you have set for your process and your agents, right? So this card, John Smith, once all the requirements in this phase are set, so once this card is reviewed, it's going to move to the next phase, to resource analysis phase. Then it's going to move to the missing information phase, to the service phase, until it reaches an outcome, which is done or archived. And the outcomes of a process can be whatever you want them to be. So for instance, if the outcome is done, I can create an automated process where automatically I'm going to send a satisfaction survey to my client, right? So when a card is moved into the done phase, that is going to trigger an automation in Pipefy. Okay, so as the card progresses down the workflow, the logic is the same. On the second phase, resource analysis, we're going to have on the left-hand side the initial form information. So as I said, information is going to be always accessible to the client. So to the support agent, in order for he or she not to be looking for information everywhere, inbox, drive, people, so everything that they need, all the history of this client is going to be here and in the databases, which I'm going to cover very soon. So here, as you see, are the phases. So I can actually access previous phases where this card was. So I know that, the request ID, priorities, anything that was input in previous phases, I'm going to access them over here. Okay. And then again, right-hand side, the requirements to be completed for this phase. So over here, I need the support agent needs to establish if there's any missing information, yes, no, or yes or no. There's a sim here in Portuguese. Then if there is missing information, then which information is missing? If there's no information missing, then the text box disappears. All right. Then once all the requirements are complete for this phase, Pipefy allows me to create different automations that will allow me to create scalable processes. So when we spoke about creating about your customer services, your customer operations, customer service team being overwhelmed with the mundane, the menial tasks of every day, sending emails, updating statuses of a ticket, all this can be automated in Pipefy. And this, I think, differentiates us from any other competitor because our automations really go granular. They're really powerful. They are events that will trigger an action. One of my favorite automations is this one, when a field is updated, because it's really generic and it does everything. So when I put letter M, do this, right? So when I click on yes, so is there any missing information? No, I click no. Then I want to create an automation that moves this card to the next phase. So that's a very simple automation that you can build in Pipefy. Very simple, like moving a card to a next phase when it is when all the requirements are done in a phase, to very complex, highly conditioned automations like if a very specific scenario that is true, then move card to a phase, send an approval email, and communicate the client about this. So we can do really simple automations, or we can also automate really complex processes that will allow your team to focus on the quality of the work, on the quality of their work, on the quality of their answers, responses to your clients.
Rafa, just a second. There are two questions that are really connected to the automations. So
Mhm.
the first one is how to segment customers automatically, and how to automatically assign CSMs or ISMs in an onboarding process. So I think we can explain both situations, how would be the events chosen and the actions.
Yeah.
So like
So
that.
it was how to assign, and the first one I didn't understand the
How
first.
to segment customers.
Okay, great. So regarding the assigning people, as I said, if we go into our pipe and into our intake form, into our workflow, we have here a condition, the request type. So based on this request type, I want to assign someone who has that expertise. So if it's as I said, if it's a financial request, I want Bill Gates to do it. If it's a commercial request, I want Mary to do it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set up an automation. I'm going to set up an automation that when a field is updated, update another field's value. So I click here. So I go to the automation section, this button over here, the little robot. You add an automation. Now you choose the event when a field is updated, right? Or information in it is modified. You choose your pipe. So I'm working in my help desk. Then which field do I need? So when in the start form, so as you see, it's divided by phases. So by the stages of my workflow. So when in my start form, my intake form, the request type, okay, field is updated and is equal to. So I add the condition here. So when that is equal to, see here, when my request type is equal to financial, then I needed to update a field's value. I want to assign, I want in the screening phase to assign always Mr. Where's Bill Gates? All these are real people, I guess. So I want them to update, well, okay, let me assign myself. So when this condition is true, Rafael Bertrand's going to be the responsible for that ticket. So every time I receive a request where this condition is true, it's a commercial financial request, Rafael Bertrand's going to be assigned to this. And then I name the automation. So commercial tickets. Then there. Oh, I'm not an admin, so sorry. So and that's nice that I got this over here. Only there's different user roles in Pipefy. So there are members, there are admins, there are read-only members for this pipe, and that really that will allow you to provide access to the information that the agent needs. So if I'm a member, I'm only going to be able to see the tickets that I need to see. So those tickets that are assigned to me. Those that are not assigned to me, I'm not going to be able to see them. Then you can be an admin. Admins can edit the pipe. They can see everything, all the cards that are open, and they can make changes and everything that a member wouldn't be able to. Then Mari, do we have any other clearance level? We have member, we have admin, member, or view only. So if people who have view only information access, they're not going to be able to input information into the pipe. They're not going to be able to edit the pipe to see that. And then we have something really cool in Pipefy, which is private pipes. So as you can see here, I have many pipes and I can join other pipes. These pipes I can join just by clicking on them and joining them. So you see this is my churn management pipe that is connected to my main customer pipe. So whenever something happens, so whenever a customer requests to cancel their account, it will automatically generate a new card over here, and a churn process is going to be triggered from my other workflow. I was telling you about clearance level. So I can build pipes in Pipefy. I can join pipes like this one, but I can set also pipes as private. So other people are not going to know about their existence. These are going to be pipes that only people who I invite to these pipes are going to be able to join. All right. And then, Mari, customer segmentation. How did you interpret that question?
I think about the options, mostly about the options that we have. If you select the customer onboarding process, we have an example there actually about the segmentation that we have set as a template that is based on the amount paid. So, for example, if the amount paid, if we consider it a small company or a big company, we can automatically assign to somebody, or we can add add fields or a different scope for this process or this company itself, right? But it could be based or any different scenario. For example, the product or service acquired, if your company offers different service levels, and then you segment your customers based on that, you can add this on the pipe or on any phases or the start forms as well. So
yeah, so an idea of automation would be, sorry, Maria, I interrupted you.
No, you can keep going.
So yeah, so the automation Mari was talking would be something like this. It would be updating a field's value. So from the information that we collected from the intake form or from one of the requirements in the phases where one of our agents is going to classify this company as medium, as a small, medium, or large business, using that piece of information, which is going to be the field, we're going to update a field, for instance. So when small company is selected, then we're going to update a field's value, we're going to tag that card as small. Then that's going to allow us to use filters over here in the pipeline. It's going to allow us to use our filtering system, and which is going to allow us to filter by label, by tag, right? So this tags, we can change them to our needs. As I said, Pipefy is a solution that's going to adapt to what you need. So in this case, we would create a labeling system for small, medium, and large businesses. Whenever it is set as such, the label is it's going to be automatically labeled. Okay, that's an example of, that's one of the ways I would do segmentation here in Pipefy. A very flexible tool. There are many ways we could achieve this if we wanted a different situation. Any other questions, Mari, before I move into talking about centralization and databases?
The other question that we have is, how do I receive notifications about the deadlines? So I think it's worth showing just the options that we have on sending emails, push-up notifications, and then we can move forward.
Let me go into a pipe where I have access to edit. So let me see here. Editable customer satisfaction. Let's join this pipe over here. Okay. I'm going to join this pipe because I can join it. I have permission to join it. Then I'm going to go into the intake form. These are the fields that are, that the customer needs to input, right, in order to submit the form. None of them are required. If they were, you would see an asterisk, right? But I cannot add, I'm not an admin, I cannot add the field over here, Mari. Anyways, if I were an admin, I would be able to, I would have the option here to add a field, right? on this option, I would find a due date field to input into this form. Once I input the due date field, right? My customer inputs that, or once a card is created over here in the process, I'm gonna add the field for due date. Once the due date arrives, once the due date is reached, Pipefy, we can set different automations to notify you not only automatically within Pipefy. So as you see here, I have 389 notifications, right? So the card, you see here, the card create a banner for an event just became overdue, right? The card Paul just became late, right? So I'm going to receive a notification here. I'm going to receive a notification in my app on my phone. So, well, I'm not sure if you, well, it's not worth showing. Your guys are not going to be able to see it, but I have some notifications about Pipefy push messages on my phone letting me know that I'm late with some tasks. And also, any of those tags, late, overdue, or expired, we can use automations to trigger events, right? So as you see here, we have an automation. When an alert is triggered, so when a card becomes late, expired, or overdue, do something. Oh, sorry, do something. So when an alert is triggered, move a card to a face, create, whatever your use case is, it's very probable, chances are that we can create that an alert system with Pipefy.
And I think it's worth introducing my tasks as well. It's an easier way to organize your day, to start your routine. So
Excellent.
it's another option.
Yeah, that's ooh, that's a very good option. Also, Pipefy gives you to have your tasks organized. I prefer using notifications over here. Like it's just my own my preference, right? And yeah, there's many ways that we can organize the task and how your team will handle those deadlines and SLAs. Right. Mari, we have what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, and we don't have any open questions, so feel free to move forward.
So very quickly, I want to go over databases and reporting. The database, when we spoke about centralizing, information pipeline is going to be in your pipe. So that's what's going to be visible to your agents, to your managers, but also we can create databases. So for instance, you see here, I have customers, employee databases, product, suppliers databases. And what these do is the information that is in my pipeline is centralized over here. So I have SCARD's technology here. This is a customer of ours, and this is the information I have from him. When I click on SCARD's, I have SCARD's entire record. In this case, I have just the initial information, but if this client had been used somewhere in a workflow, I would see, just as you see in the card, a two-sided view. I would see another half here with the history of this client. So every card that has been opened related to SCARD would be showing up here. Let me see if I can find one. And that is in that, I think that these have not been used. Let me see if I find an example for that. Let me see here in the employees database, but you get the idea. This is going to allow me to see the information of every client. So none of them have been used, and then quickly, we have a minute, but to wrap up the databases, this is the place where Pipefy is going to store information if we need it. And the information contained here can be used to autofill parts of my process, and parts of my process can be information from my processes can be used to feed my databases. Okay, and then we have the report section. The reports are really powerful in Pipefy in the sense that you are able to filter whatever. The filtering capability of Pipefy is really, great. Sorry for lack of a better word, but over here, the reports, the first thing is you're gonna, like in this report over here, I have the basic information from my face. from my workflow, and then I can add it. So I want all these fields. Okay, I want all these fields from my workflow. Once I have this basic report, now I can start filtering. So I want to see only the ones, only the reports that have AIN as a title, as a responsible. So I'm gonna add a filter over here, and then I'm gonna, oops, sorry, I'm gonna add a filter, yeah, here, and then wait, okay, so I'm in the, there's two types of reports in Pipefy. One is the organizational reports, and then the pipeline reports. Let me show you this is the organization reports, where you're gonna be able to get all, you're gonna be able to combine information of different pipes. Then we have this report section, which is regarding this specific pipe. Okay, so I have already some reports here that as information goes, as information flows in my workflow, that information is going to be saved here. I think we ran out of time over here, but quickly, as I was telling you, I'm going to pick the fields that I want. So over here, I have all the fields of my process, of my workflow by stage. So the information from the start form, I want to filter by email, by phone number. I want the products. I want the field additional information, whatever it is. Now it is contained over here. Now I can filter by it. Okay. Now I can apply the filters that I need. So I need the creator is, when the creator is Paula, I want to see those cards. There's one over here. When I click on this card, I have access to the record. Okay. So that is about it. I don't think we have any more time to go through portals, but Mari.
Yeah, our time box is over, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach us out in the NINAP chat. We also have the help sidebar if you want to see any features, a step-by-step on how to set it up. And well, feel free to reach us out. We are more than available to help you going through your process and our features as well.
Yeah, and just go to our website, www.pipefy.com, and there we're going to have, you can reach our support team, our customer, our sales team. We'll gladly build a prototype for you guys and demo a specific scenario for your company, so that you guys see like firsthand how Pipefy would solve your specific problem. Okay.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for participating, and thanks, Rafa, as well, for helping me and being here with me today.
Thank you for having me, Mari. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.